Hi, my name is Austin Bears, and today we're going to be talking about the locomotion system between the Hydra, the sea star, and the roundworm. Locomotion, as described by the textbook, is the active motion from place to place. The ability to search for new food, evade predators, and find new environments and mates open the door for biological diversity. Today we will be talking about animals from the phylums Cnidaria, Echinodermata, and Nematoda. Hydra from the phylum Cnidaria are usually sedentary but have multiple methods of movement using epitheliomuscular cells. Sea star from the phylum Echinodermata utilize their water vascular system and tube feet for locomotion. Roundworms from the phylum Nematoda are pressurized by cuticles and make use of their longitudinal muscles for undulatory movement similar to that of the way a snake moves. First, we'll talk about the Hydra. The Hydra is normally sedentary and stays in one spot. However, the Hydra may want to move to a new environment where there may be more food available. The Hydra attaches itself to a substrate by bioadhesion. This is because of chemicals secreted by either the basal disc or the tentacles. The basal disc is where the Hydra attaches to the substrate to remain sedentary. The epitheliomuscular cells secrete chemicals to make adhesion possible. Tentacles are very important in the locomotion of Hydras because of their ability to move around. They also contain nematocytes, which are the cells in the tentacles that secrete the adhesive chemicals necessary for locomotion. The only muscular cells found in the Hydra are epitheliomuscular cells. These are cells located in the ectoderm and endoderm that rely on neurons between them to contract or relax the cells. An article written by Anjali titled "Locomotion in Hydra with Diagrams Marine Animals" highlights the many ways in which a Hydra can move. First, we have looping. This involves the bending of the Hydra until the tentacles can attach themselves to the ground. The Hydra then releases its basal disc and moves it towards the tentacles. The basal disc then reattaches to the substrate, and the Hydra releases its tentacles. The motion is similar to that of the way a caterpillar moves. The Hydra can also move by somersaulting. This is similar to looping, except a basal disc flips over the tentacles and attaches to the substrate on the other side of the animal. Next, we have gliding. Gliding occurs in the Hydra with a pseudopodia action of the cells located in the basal disc. The Hydra remains upright and moves across the substrate. Epitheliomuscular cells located in the basal disc of the Hydra can also create a gas bubble. The Hydra releases itself from the substrate, produces a gas bubble, then passively floats through the water inverted. The Hydra can remain floating on the water surface if the bubble is popped due to surface tension between the water and the mucus threads of the Hydra. Some Hydra even have the ability to climb by attaching tentacles to a risen substrate and releasing the basal disc. The Hydra then contracts its tentacles and lifts itself up. The Hydra can also release itself from a substrate and use undulating movements to swim about in the water. This happens due to periodic contractions that occur routinely throughout the Hydra for no apparent reason. Next, we have the sea star. Unique to the Echinodermata is the water vascular system and the tube feet which they use to move about. The water vascular system allows sea stars to move through the use of an organ called tube feet. This process begins with water coming into the sea star through the madrepore or sieve plate. This filters out any debris and allows only water to come in. The water then goes into the ring canal, which helps to distribute the water and fill up the arms. Inside of the arms are bulbs called ampulla which house the water. When the bulbs contract, they push water into the podium, which is the foot portion. When the podium is extended and contacts the surface, adhesive chemicals, similar to that of the Hydra, are released to ensure the tube feet attaches. Muscles in the podium then contract and move the sea star just a little bit in the intended direction. The sea star then secretes deadhesive chemicals through the podium, releasing the tube foot from the substrate, and the podium muscles contract, shortening the length and pushing water back inside of the ampulla. Although a single tube foot cannot pull the sea star very far in a single direction, the animal is able to control thousands of them, which, when all working in unison, work effectively to move the animal in whichever way it wants to go. Lastly, we have the roundworm. Similar to the swimming motion of the Hydra, the nematode moves around using undulatory locomotion. The nematode also exploits a pressurized internal system in order to make locomotion possible, like the sea star. Nematodes have a cuticle surrounding their body which provides structural support and creates a hydrostatic skeleton, resulting in high internal pressure. Longitudinal muscles run down the length of the roundworm. These muscles are segmented into two groups, one of which is controlled by dorsal motor neurons and the other by ventral motor neurons, which allows the roundworm to move in dorsal-ventral bends. There are no circular muscles within nematodes. The longitudinal muscles contract, shortening one side of the animal's body. When the muscles are relaxed, the internal pressure lengthens the muscles and the body of the roundworm returns to a normal shape. Roundworms perform the muscular contractions and relaxations very rapidly in a thrashing-like motion, which propels the worm forward. Here we see the three different animals discussed in relation to each other. The Hydra utilizes 6 methods of movement: looping, somersaulting, gliding, floating, climbing, and swimming. They also make use of their epitheliomuscular cells for movement. The sea star utilizes its water vascular system in order to control the movement of its limbs and tube feet. The roundworm has a cuticle surrounding its body which creates a pressurized internal environment. They also only have longitudinal muscles that when contracted and relaxed propels them in a thrashing-like motion. The Hydra and the sea star both use chemical adhesion to bind specific parts of their body to a substrate, and the muscular contractions pulls the rest. The sea star and the roundworm both have internalized pressure systems that allow for the animal to create movement. The roundworm and the Hydra both move their bodies in undulatory movements to propel themselves forward. All of these animals have complex organs that allow for aquatic locomotion. Here are my references. Thank you.